Hey everyone, it's Dinah, and we are back with more of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, this time on to episode 5 of season 2. Last time we had the Inca princess, the ancient Inca princess, Ampata. She took on Ampata's kind of identity and everything, and also pretty much consumed his life force, among with like two others. I think she consumed, Rodney at the museum, and then Ampata in the bus station, and then later on in the bathroom she also consumed the bodyguard as well. So a total of 3 people. So yeah, and then kept on progressively getting kind of more lively and everything. So her having mentioned like different cities, like in America, I think like Boston and New York and all these other things, all these other locations. I'd like, part of me like but I think back then, having after watching the episode, I thought, oh, maybe she consumes memories too. So I think not completely bypassing that, but then I thought, oh, like if she was an exhibit like for all these years too, then could it be possible that she was actually kind of transferred from state to state, from state to state and city to city? So then maybe, but then she was deceased, so I don't know if she'd actually recall any of that. But then it was like, but then that thought popped into my head too, like, oh, what if she actually does have like some kind of semi kind of conscious kind of memories, or semi stable kind of memories of actually kind of being like transported from museum to museum and exhibit to exhibit and everything. So I don't know. Either way, there was her, there was Ampata, also I think a chosen one. I think they never really kind of delved into that properly. I think looking back, they were pretty vague on it too. I think she was chosen, but then she was chosen to be a sacrifice. I think she talked about like how she was sacrificed. She was sacrificed to. She said that she was chosen to actually protect to protect her people from the threats of the netherworld. So then that kind of got me thinking, maybe then she wasn't so much of a chosen one being like a vampire slayer, but then more of like a chosen one being like being sacrificed in order to protect her people, like being given as an offering to the gods to protect them from any kind of netherworld forces. So then again, I think her life and everything was still taken away from her, but it's in like a more kind of abrupt kind of fashion too. So my kind of question towards like how far back like the kind of Slayer kind of thing how far back the whole Slayer thing goes, and if there are any kind of cultural kind of interventions or kind of implications towards the Slayer stuff throughout history as well. That kind of question still stands. So I don't know if it's ever going to be answered in the show, then I guess we'll see. But yeah, we had Xander and Ampata. I think they had like a pretty kind of sweet kind of run throughout the episode too. And then in the end, I think she kind of couldn't even kind of he was effectively the one person that she couldn't actually go through with actually absorbing and everything, but then almost everyone else was still fair game. So yeah, but then in the end they still managed to kind of dismantle her and watch as she couldn't kind of hold out anymore, and then she still went back to her decayed and deceased form and everything. So, and then yeah, that kind of left the connection between Xander and Ampata kind of left Willow feeling left out too. Like I think her just kind of somewhat pining over kind of lost feelings for Xander, like, and actually kind of like feeling like her feelings for Xander were very much kind of unreciprocated, and even actually walking in on him kind of telling Buffy that, you know, he would never really kind of have those feelings for Willow because she's his best friend and everything. So she's working on it. She is working on it. I think admittedly that episode did still kind of show us like her actually kind of like working towards kind of moving on from those feelings and accepting that Xander would never feel the same way. So she is working on it. She's working on herself. So hopefully that progression of self and self-discovery and everything will be nice to see. But yeah, but we also have Oz. We have Oz now, played by Seth Green. Don't know how long he's going to be around for, but we have Oz. I don't really want to question that too much either, like how long he's going to be around as a character, how long he's going to be around as a character, or how big his involvement with the story is going to be. Because I feel like if I focus too much on that, it's going to take away from actually being able to enjoy his character and actually, you know, I mean, I know I pulled myself into that line of thinking, but then now I'm kind of actively trying to pull myself back out again. So to try to kind of focus more on actually just kind of enjoying like any kind of character introductions and story progressions as they happen, as I should be doing and everything. But yeah, I think I just can't really kind of help but question stuff like that sometimes, like, oh, this person was a star, it is like a big star now, but then how big were they back then, and how kind of like how involved might they be in a story like this and everything. So we'll see. Just see how much more of Oz we actually get and how much more he gets to do and everything. But he did right off the bat. He does kind of show like some semblance of interest towards Willow and everything. The kind of the cute girl in the Eskimo suit. So. And I think, like looking back, I feel like it was just like a nice enough kind of way for. Looking back, I think one thought that didn't immediately cross my mind was the fact that it might have just been like a nice enough kind of look for Buffy at at glancing at her own life and her own kind of life pressures and her own life kind of duties and everything from the outside. Actually watching someone else go through like an eerily similar situation to her, like having duties and having duties thrust upon her that she never asked for, and then in different kind of fashions having their lives taken away, and actually watching Ampata kind of be this innocent young girl who actually had such like a duty thrust upon her, but then also like actually watching her come back and being able to live all these, to actually feel and experience all these things and to live a life that she actually never got the chance to experience. But then by doing so, she's also actively kind of going against like the laws of kind of nature and actually kind of betraying the laws of nature and actually committing harmful acts and everything. It's like an interesting antagonist for her to fight, where it's like someone that she kind of does support in what she wants, but then it's like the kind of lengths that she's obviously going to achieve what she wants is obviously very wrong, and actually going to makes her, allows Ampata to actually kind of meet enough of the criteria on Buffy's list of like, are they a villain? Do they need to be stopped? Do I need to take them out and everything? So it was like a good enough kind of analysis in that sense too. So yeah. But I think for now, yeah, that is pretty much all that there was for the last episode. It seemed pretty kind of focused on the whole kind of Ampata thing. Didn't really kind of feel like it really kind of involved too much else beyond integrating an Ampata and her history and everything into the story. So yeah, and also like a nice enough kind of educational lesson on like the Incas and like kind of ancient like in indigenous kind of cultures and stuff like that. So yeah, a good enough kind of history lesson in there too. So yeah, that was fun. So on to episode number 5 of season 2 of Buffy. Let's go.
Is she dying?
I think
horror movie night. Horror movie night.
Hindi. Now that's entertainment.
They're watching a Bollywood movie. Okay.
Why is she singing?
She's sad because her lover gave her 12 gold coins. But then the wizard cut open the bag of salt, and now the dancing minions have nowhere to put their big maple.
They're watching a Bollywood movie. That's interesting.
Why is she singing?
Singing is a trademark of Bollywood movies and just Indian movies in general. Xander.
So how does a water buffalo fit in again?
Water buffalo? Seriously, what are they watching? Like, the music is the only thing about that would actually tell me it was a Bollywood movie. Story does not sound familiar in the slightest. Oh boy, oh gosh, oh, whoa, she just fully hopped out the balcony. Is that a monk? Is that a monk? That was a monk. From monks, is this like a monk home invasion? Like a biblical home invasion? Damn, she fully hopped out the balcony too. She means business. And just climbing over the wall. Yeah, this is how you should be in horror movies. You should escape by any means necessary. The balcony line was a good sign. I have high hopes for her. Oh, is this one of those like satanic ritual things? Or is it like just a ritual thing in general? Yeah, I think a monk, like a home invasion of the monks would never really kind of end too well, would it? But again, her escape plan had me rooting for her right from the get-go. Just like that sweet hop and drop over the balcony. That was... you got to root for her instead of actually yelling at her to do the right stuff, because she's already doing the right stuff. So
Dr. Debbie says when a man is speaking, you make serious eye contact and you really, really listen. You laugh at everything he says.
That's a very well practiced laugh, like music to the ears.
Was it one of those vivid dreams where you could feel his lips and smell his hair?
It had surround sound.
So
I'm just thinking.
can you do that? Are your memory sensors that powerful? You can actually remember what someone smells like?
Not that it's any of your business, but I happen to be dating a Delta Zeta Kappa.
Oh, an extraterrestrial. So that's how you get laid after you exhausted all the human guys.
Someday, Xander. I just know your pizza delivery career will take you so many exciting places.
Oh gosh. God, the endless roasting between Cordelia and Xander nowadays. Oh God, I kind of live for it. I can't lie, I kind of live for it.
Different comes in handy.
Right, who needs a social life when you've got your very own Helmo?
Yes. Purpose. You have a commitment in life. Now, how many people your age can say that?
We're talking foreign or domestic.
It's not getting to me.
God, who could say no to pouting Sarah Michelle Gellar?
And of course they flew by.
Oh, is this a Delta Zelta Kappa dude? Isn't he the guy? Isn't he the guy from the thing, the robe, the monks?
It's gonna be a really special.
Isn't he one of the monks? The hair makes it look like it.
Indian TV, sex, lies, incomprehensible storylines. I'll bring the
Really,
beetle next.
sex on Indian TV?
Brother, want to meet you.
It's a lot less modest than I remember.
I'm Tom Warner. I'm a senior at Crestwood College, and I just feel like a complete dolt meeting you this way, so...
Is he a monk too? Are they both monks?
Party we're having this weekend.
Is it weird? She actually does have like a kind of like a weirdly nice laugh to listen to. When it's natural, of course, not when it's all forced and
I know I talk too much anyway.
male appealing.
Really dope.
Buffy!
Oh Lord. Oh gosh. Is there anything more embarrassing than the librarian coming out and calling after you like he's your dad? What did he say his name was again? I legitimately already forgot.
I won't be pulling any punches.
Doesn't look like you have any punches to pull.
Hi.
Angel? Angel! Hello!
I could smell it. If we date, you and I both know one thing's gonna lead to another.
One thing already has led to another.
This could get out of control.
Isn't that the way it's supposed to be? When you kiss me, I want to die.
This has to be a dream, right? No, a very serious moment between the two of them. Okay. Oh, probably one of the more tense moments we've had between them too. Damn.
Did you lose weight? And your hair? All right, I respect you too much to be dishonest. The hair's a little...
Her hair's
That isn't
fine.
the point here, is it? The Zeta Kappas have to have a certain...
Her hair really
balance
is
at their
really
part.
is
And Richard
fine.
explained it all to me, but I was so...
I pledge my life and my death.
Oh god.
Delta Zeta Kappas and to Makita.
So that, oh, this is the monk group then. Delta Zeta Kappas.
whom we serve.
Makita.
Let you go? Okay, let me think. No. God, I love high school girls.
So what do they do with the girls then? Is it like a sacrifice thing?
You know, at least Tom can carry on a conversation.
Tom, that's his name, Tom.
Tom. Who's Tom?
Will you be ready if a vampire's behind you?
Ugh.
Didn't see you three about.
Well, hey, at least he's putting in some training too. You know, that's only fair.
My mom's not really feeling well, and she could probably use my help.
Solid excuse, solid
To
cover.
be truthful, I'm not feeling all that well myself.
Like, you don't have a sick mother, but you'd rather go to a frat party where there's gonna be drinking and older guys and probably an orgy.
Oh, please, no on the orgy.
When do they have a word?
That does not look like a safe environment or safe people to have an orgy with.
You want to protect her? Mm-hmm. And prove that you're just as good as those rich, snotty guys? Mm-hmm. Maybe catch an orgy?
If it's on early.
Gotta love how nonchalant this show is about everything.
All the rich people and all the other people. Richard!
Welcome, ladies.
Emphasis on the rich there.
Is it?
Cheers.
What? Why? Whoa! Why? Wow. Huh. Okay. Why does he look like young Ned Flanders? Oh, don't be spiked. Please don't be spiked. Oh god. Oh god.
Could I have this?
Okie dokie.
You're big on responsibility. I like that. There's such a thing as being too mature.
You think I'm too mature?
I talk too much. Have you picked up on that yet?
There's like an element of obvious creepiness to this, right? Like a college senior with a high school junior.
Come back?
New pledge.
Oh no. No, they're gonna carve shit into his chest with swords. Glass? No. Glass from a window. Is this the same place the girl broke out of?
Bent.
Scent.
Brent.
Dent.
Lent. Dent.
Kent.
Went.
Callie. Oh, Callie. I think they did call her Callie. He did. Richard called her Callie. Yeah, that looks like her too. She's in their basement. Oh, okay. Oh, this is the pledge thing. So they're not stabbing him with swords. Oh gosh. Oh no, it's Richard. Oh no, she's passed out on a bed in a frat house. Hands off, you creep. Hands off of her.
Get away from her.
Oh,
Doing anything.
Tom.
What you were doing. She's just having a little fun.
Well, she's not here for your fun, you pervert. She's here for the pleasure of the one we serve.
Oh, he is a monk.
In his name.
Oh,
That
he.
goes for the other one too.
The other one? Oh, Cordelia. Oh no. Oh, they already got Cordelia. They spiked them both.
Anderson.
Fuck.
Missing for over a week.
If there are others,
Oh shit. Yeah, more
Brittany
victims.
Oswald Jr. at St. Michael's disappeared a year ago.
A year.
So did Kelly Purcell.
They've been doing this
sophomore
shit for a
grade.
year.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. What happened? The fuck? He's the one to watch out for. Or is he going to be like a vessel? Is he going to get possessed?
The reflection thing that you don't have. Angel, how do you shave? South Wall.
I mean,
that's
he's
near the
dead,
college.
so hair
And
just wouldn't grow, right?
Fraternity
Just
house.
anywhere?
Fraternity.
So he wouldn't have longer hair, he wouldn't have a...
Let's
you
get
know.
out there.
With Cordelia, they went to a party at the Zeta Kappa house.
She lied to me?
Yeah.
And you never let her do anything except work and patrol. And I know she's the chosen one, but you're killing her with the pressure. I mean, she's 16 going on 40. And you! I mean, you're gonna live forever. You don't have time
Fucking
for a
Willow
cup of
going
coffee.
at it. Jeez.
Okay,
Fucking Willow Rosenberg going at
feel
it.
better now.
Yeah.
We've gotta help Buffy.
No, she's sticking up for Buffy. Yeah, she is outlining all the concerns and also defending her.
One day I'll have
We love a bestie like that.
prestige. We have no wealth, no possession, except that which you give us.
So he's the reason you're frat boys?
And let your terrible countenance look upon your servants and their humble offering. We
God.
call you Keith.
You couldn't just be regular fucking douchebags, could you? You just had to be fucking
There's something down there, and
devil
Willow's
worshippers.
down there with-
Whoa! Whoa! Is that a lizard? You telling me Makita's a lizard?
Rise from the depths,
Makita's a
and we shall
fucking
come before
lizard.
him. He who is the source of all we inherit and all we possess.
They get their powers from a lizard?
Makita.
They may be involved in some kind of ritual.
With the missing girls.
With Buffy.
Yeah. God, a vampire versus a fucking lizard. That is a fight I never thought I'd see.
Hey, reptile boy!
A reptile boy.
Look at her. She's all skin and bones.
Oh, jeez, oof. Oh, there we go. Is Makita floating, or does it have like multiple legs, like the Scorpion King? Does it have like multiple legs or something? Oh no, it just is a really, it's literally, oh, it's got a really long tail, like a, yeah, like a fucked up genie. That's for the wig, that's for the bra, that's for the lipstick.
I'll serve you to him in pieces.
Oof.
You talk too much.
Yeah.
Let her go, Wormy.
Wormy, really? Oh no, you lost your tail. Oh. Oh gosh.
You saved us. I've never been so happy to see anyone in my home. You guys, the weirdest things always happen when you're around.
And you're going to jail for 15,000 years.
The one right thing she said all episode.
And you were very nearly devoured by a giant demon snake. Words, let that be a lesson, are a tad redundant at this juncture.
I'm sorry.
So am I.
They've all been sentenced to consecutive life sentences.
As they should.
Investigators found the bones of missing girls in a huge cavern beneath the Frat house. And older bones dating back 50 years.
Oh, 50 fucking
Surprising number of
years.
corporations whose chairmen and founders are former Delta Zeta Kappas are suffering from falling profits, IRS raids, and suicides in the boardroom.
Oh, damn.
Starve a snake, lose a fortune. Well, I guess the rich really are different.
Eat the rich, kill the rich. Yeah.
I hear this place serves coffee. Thought maybe you and I should get some. Sometime. If you want.
Well, it took you long enough, didn't it?
Sometime. I'll let you know.
So yeah, yeah, wow. Don't really know where to start with this. So this, I think this honestly seemed as much of like a, this and the last episode have seemed so far very, very kind of hyper focused too. I think it's like, I don't know if it's because I like my kind of TV show viewing recently has kind of been staggered. Because the thing with this is a cable show as well. This is an actual network show. This isn't like nowadays like you know, you have like streaming shows and streaming series that are so kind of compact and so kind of streamlined and so, you know, like so focused on actually telling a story where they don't really kind of take that many kind of breaks or breathers like for an entire episode. Like with this is an actual kind of network show where they can very easily have entire episodes that stray, like that actually take a break from what the main story is and actually take one or even two, in this case two kind of episodes to actually kind of give you different kind of stories and everything. So this one definitely feels like a lot more kind of hyper focused on actually giving you like a very, very specific antagonist and a story and like an enemy for Buffy and the team to deal with and do that kind of stuff. So and I think I do kind of like that. I think it's not something that I dislike or something that takes away my enjoyment or anything. But I think with this one too, I think these last few episodes have actually kind of used Buffy's character to actually kind of still push the story forward too. Because then and I think this is I used to have such like a what's the word, like a negative kind of look upon filler episodes too, because I think after years of actually watching network TV and actually seeing what that kind of a mixture of actual story episodes and filler episodes would be like, it always and then actually moving on to streaming shows and other kind of shows where stuff would be more serialized and broken up into little arcs and pods and stuff, and then that kind of changed my whole kind of outlook on things too. And then I was like, you know, oh yeah, this is how a show needs to be, where it's like they actually get to the point and they can tell the story and everything. But then with stuff like this, I think this is like a nice enough reminder that like fillers can be good as long as they do it right. I think like a filler can be good if it's like enjoyable. I think sometimes fillers also don't really kind of always come around full circle or don't really kind of come back in the biggest or most impactful way, but so sometimes like they literally are designed and written to be breathers. But with this one and the last one, I feel like they effectively did use like a still kind of well and powerfully written antagonist in order to actually kind of showcase what kind of further development Buffy will have this season. Because I think especially with with the way that this season kind of started too, with Buffy coming back and immediately kind of having to face like her trauma head first and actually having to deal with that kind of pain and that kind of struggle and everything, and then going forward now she's once again thrust into the world of her duties and her obligations and her responsibilities as a Slayer and everything. So we've been watching her deal with this, and I think because again I think more so because I think like the season finale of episode, like the finale of season 1 literally had her dealing with the prophecy where it stated that she would die, that she would face the master and that she would die, and then she actually did die, but then she was brought back by Angel and Xander. So then having faced death and having already experienced death like to an extent, and having already bounced back from that, I think you know, like that's one thing. But then coming back to the same life where she already suffered that kind of fate, I think she's already she's already dealt with that. But then I think that kind of that trauma and that trauma and that fear never went away, as we saw with episode 1. But then since then, ensuring that she's fully eradicated any kind of chance that the Master can return again, she's now dealing with like the whole kind of the full-on kind of gravity of being the Slayer and what more that brings. Because then season 1 was so kind of heavily Master focused and tried to find the kind of balance between that and the whole kind of Slayer role that Buffy has and everything. And I think it definitely kind of was pretty much the embodiment of the show, trying to find its footing and trying to see what it would do between doing vampire stuff and doing monster stuff and exploring different kind of character kind of journeys too. So it did it still did like a pretty good job in that too. But I think with this season, it definitely feels a lot more like they're actually going kind of like they know they want to actually kind of go with the whole kind of Buffy feeling conflicted and Buffy facing those struggles as a teenager and everything. So that much I can definitely kind of sense and also appreciate too. I think that definitely feels like a really kind of strong storyline and like a strong kind of character kind of journey to explore and to really kind of show the paces of and everything. So that much is really cool. And yeah, I think like this episode kind of arguably having the strongest kind of points of it all too, like her actively lying to Giles. I think that's I think given how big of a deal they made it in this episode, I think that pretty much confirms that it's actually something that she's never done to Giles before. She's literally, and I feel like if she had done it before, we'd pretty much know about it too. So I think then like her officially having done it this episode kind of show and then reminding her of it too showed that it's actually like a much bigger kind of like a first time deal kind of thing than any of them are used to. So it became a pretty big deal. But yeah, no. So she lied to Giles about, you know, like her mother being sick and needing to take care of things around the house and having other more personal duties and everything. But then all the while she was going to a frat house and partying with Cordelia and then getting herself into the trouble that, you know, I think also like with the antagonist thing too, I think they never really kind of found out what was going on until the end too. I think because I think usually even in these types of episodes too, I think it's usually that like they usually like catch a hint of something by like the kind of like the first kind of like at least like by the middle, so or at least like by the end of the first kind of act, if you will. So with this one, the main concern being like Buffy kind of having to go on patrol and everything, but then only like so few of the characters actually knowing what danger was out there too, because then none of them knew about the disappearances until the end, and none of them knew about the actual monks and the whole kind of cult thing going on. Like there was no news of like girls going missing until the very end, and until the kind of the half of the bracelet thing got back to Giles and everything. So I think this episode like it feels like the first time that like the problem itself kind of like was so prominent throughout the episode to the audience, but then character wise too, it just seemed like such a rising kind of like a rising tide of trouble that really kind of hit them really quickly, and then they just kind of suddenly had to jump into battle mode and get ready to save them and everything. So they had no idea exactly what was going on, so then they had no idea what they were up against. So then there was no research on what Makita is or what it was or what it wanted or anything. There was no kind of like it was such kind of brief kind of like actual kind of outlook into the history of this group and how long they've been serving Makita and then what they've done in all these and everything. I think it was at the very end, like reading the newspaper article that like all the terrible stuff that they'd actually done, or at least most of it, had come to light and everything. So I think it seemed like such like a not rushed, but I think it felt like at least like not really rushed for me, but just like a good way of actually writing that into the story too. Because then again, we are like the story pretty much like revolves around Buffy, so then we know like almost as much as she knows, but then as the audience we still get special viewing privileges like the opening to actually get like a feel for what the story is and everything. And then as she finds out stuff and then as reveals happen and stuff, we find out things, and then the rest of the characters only kind of really find out like once they start really kind of investigating the finer details towards the end and everything. So it just felt more like a whole mystery thriller type thing, kind of that seemed really kind of like fast paced and everything in that sense. So this episode kind of like is ever more strongly actually driving forward the whole kind of that whole kind of arc of Buffy kind of feeling the pressure, and even that scene of Willow too. Willow just like actually calling both Buffy and calling Giles and Angel out too, like Giles being like, you know, you're forcing so much pressure on her, you're not really giving her a choice, and you're making her feel like she doesn't have a choice, and she really badly wants a choice, and she's only 60, she's 16 going on 40, and you're not letting her live an actual fucking life and everything, because then you still keep pushing the Slayer stuff on her. So if you keep doing this, then soon enough she's not going to have a life to dedicate to all this stuff. And then Angel being like, you know, you brushed her off, and now she went to party with some frat guys, and now she's in danger and everything. So, you know, you're 240 years old, so would it really kill you to have a fucking cup of coffee every once in a while? So her just like, her initially kind of confessing to what she knew, but then actually being like, no, you know what, Buffy isn't entirely unjustified in how she feels, because she just has, you know, blowback coming from kind of all angles of her life and everything, and she doesn't have to handle what to do or anything, so she's fully justified in actually how she feels. So let's actually worry about like actually helping her first before we reprimand her or anything. So Willow, pretty much a top tier bestie. So the episode's still kind of worked to highlight it. I think it also did definitely. I think it did kind of also kind of somewhat highlight a kind of rebellious kind of teenager, kind of like the more rebellious side of her. It's like not just your typical rebellious teenager, but the teenager, but then the rebellious teenager in her amplified to the point where she actually forgoes her duties and everything. But then it's like, again, I think the unmissable irony being the fact that like by trying so hard to avoid the danger and to skip the danger and to try and live a normal life, she then ends up actually being almost like magnetically pulled towards what the danger is, and even danger finds her too. Because even the opening, you know, Richard found out and he was like, oh, who's she? Who's your friend over there? I'm really interested in her. So then he clocked her from the beginning. So I think he knew from the beginning that he wanted Cordelia and Buffy for the ritual thing. So that was that. But yeah, I think her rebellious side kind of actually pushing her to go this far too, where she lies, and then she kind of would told the truth, and then by the end of it she's in so much danger that probably deep down she's actually wondering like if she's wondering / hoping if Giles would ever find out what's going on, actually if he would ever actually show up or anything. But then she still knows and trusts that Willow is with him, and that she would probably fess up when the time came, and then both of them would actually hunt down Angel and get him to help too. So I think she still knows that even if she lied to Giles, then she can still trust Willow, and she can still trust Angel and even Xander and stuff. So it's not like she's like completely foregoing any kind of any resources she has or anything. So, or even any kind of help that she has. So yeah, and it's like I know they usually come in books and everything. Like I was gonna kind of like call this like a kind of young adult kind of a story in its own right. Because I think I mean, when I think of like your young adult coming of age, or like young adult rebellion type things, or young adult rebellion stories, or young adult kind of fantasy or sci-fi kind of stories, I usually think of stuff like the Hunger Games or the Maze Runner or Percy Jackson or something like that. So then, and those initially being actual books first and foremost that get adapted into other things too, you know, movies and now shows too. So, you know, so I usually think of those. But then I do kind of wonder, I think with this being a TV show from the get-go out there, I do kind of wonder maybe if this could count in the same vein too, like with this one being the kind of young adult coming of age kind of drama series that it is, and like in like a similar enough kind of genre too. I wonder if this could fall in the same vein, because then it still definitely kind of explores like the same kind of themes and the same kind of character journeys and the same kind of character kind of art kind of types and everything. So do you wonder if this could have been considered for to be one of those things? I think it being a TV show too, I think again kids love watching TV, teenagers love watching TV, you know, people in general kind of love watching TV, and I think with TV, you know, being as pretty damn ubiquitous as it is too, I feel like it would probably be easier to catch this being a TV show than it would be to actually kind of catch it as like a book series or something. So don't know if there are any kind of like book stories for Buffy. I know that like for Supernatural there are some book stories that they've done that they've marketed as like untelevised kind of stories, like episodes that you like because it's meant to be episodes kind of set between or within certain seasons that they just never made it to, that they never really wrote for TV, but then they actually wrote it for books. I think I'm kind of curious as to whether or not they actually tried like a similar thing for this, because I mean, no, I think Buffy, I know Buffy has the comic books or like the graphic novels. I think but even then I think the graphic novels actually came after Buffy ended. So then they actually continued it in graphic form. So because of what the story is and what the format is and like the kind of target audience it clearly has to, I'm just leaves me wondering like if it would ever be considered in the same vein as those other stories. And and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of curious, but and then nevertheless, I think again this season so far is very clearly kind of headed down that path of actually exploring Buffy and who she is and what she wants, and you know, like how far she's willing to go to get it, but then also actually showing her kind of her gradual kind of like progression towards understanding what's needed of her, but also what she wants and how she can try and balance those things, and how it's going to affect her and the people around her, and how it's going to affect like the job and the world she lives in and everything. So I think season 2 is shaping up to be like a very interesting and very kind of heartfelt and thought-provoking season in that way too, because then again I think identity kind of like crises and like identity exploration and self-exploration is some of the most common themes and journeys you can actually get in shows that like pretty much everyone can relate to in one way or another. So I think to see that explored in this season, I feel like it would be like a really cool thing to see. So yeah. So yeah, the episode actually opened up with the trio watching like Indian TV. I think as Xander called it later on in the episode, it was Indian TV. So they're actually probably watching like a Bollywood like a movie, or maybe if it was TV then maybe like a show. So that seems surprising. Didn't know you could get. I mean, don't know how realistic or like how close to real life that is, but wasn't a way you could actually get like Indian channels in America, so that was kind of curious. And then even their like analysis too, like I think Xander was constantly questioning the music or the singing or something. Again, when it comes to Bollywood, whether it's the north or the south, like just Indian kind of cinema and TV in general, music is a staple. Music is a huge staple. So I just one thing you got to know going into it. So yeah. But I think that they weren't particularly watching anything I kind of recognized. I think even especially back then, they weren't watching anything I kind of recognized either. But it's good to see them kind of like actually kind of like. I think they also kind of were bored too. So I think they didn't actively watch it because they had a hankering or because they had like a particular kind of like attachment towards that kind of like towards foreign kind of entertainment. But then they were bored. They were bored. They decided to check it out. I feel like that's as good as a reason as any. And they still kept watching it too. They were actually curious enough to actually still kind of try and get the idea and get the gist of what it was. So that kind of still showed, I guess, some good faith and kind of authenticity. So that was cool. And yeah, speaking of like life issues and personal issues, there was Buffy's graveyard confrontation with Angel too. And I mean, yeah, when he grabbed her and held her up close to, I thought because she already was discussing in the hallways with Willow about already having had dreams about him and everything and stuff. So I thought maybe this could be yet another kind of intimate dream that she was having where he held her up close. But no, that one was actually real and arguably one of the most kind of intimate encounters yet. So it was also like a very kind of explicit and straightforward discussion of exactly what they are and what they're doing and how they are towards each other and everything. So Angel's kind of concerns about the age difference, and then of course being you being you and me being me, we know one thing's gonna lead to another, and it's gonna become serious and it's become real, and it's gonna cause a lot of problems because you're you and I'm me, and we have all these kind of Romeo and Juliet style oppositions towards each other and everything. So there's that whole thing. So he's kind of worried about what could happen if they actually do get together, and then she's kind of like she wants to pursue this very clearly. She actually does want to kind of pursue this and see where it goes, and then she wants kind of wants Angel to actually feel the same way, and for him to, I don't know, maybe be more open about it and stuff. So I feel like the simplest way to kind of put it would be that they've definitely kind of had like an opposite kind of a track journey with each other, but then again, like, because he's so vividly and so explicitly different from the other vampires, and he's actually capable of being in like a relationship with her despite being a vampire too. I think that's like definitely something that kind of intrigues her. But then of course like just him being Angel, him being on her side, him being willing to help her take out his own kind, and him kind of being who he is and what he is and being how he is is very, very different from what she's ever experienced and stuff. And I think it also kind of reaches out. I think also the fact that I think maybe part of her could feel like the fact that, like, you know, again, love is also something that's like a very, very complicated kind of thing to pursue or even have in her line of work with her life and then her line of work and everything. So then, but then if she ends up falling for someone within her line of work, then I think maybe part of her might see that as like I think part of her might see it as a loophole, but then she wouldn't really kind of see him as a loophole, because then she does have like a genuine intrigue and attraction towards him. But then if she falls in love with someone within her line of work, then it takes away so much more pressure for her, because then she doesn't have to hide what she is or who he is. She doesn't have to hide what she does. She doesn't have to worry about him being killed as much and everything. So there's a lot less for her to worry about in that case. I think, again, he survived this long, so yeah, and he's also like a very, very infamous vampire too. So then taking him out would be like a very, very kind of remarkable kind of feat for anyone to achieve. So there's like a lot about him that actually does kind of put him on level with her and on par with her. And again, the fact that there is actually no proper kind of bad history between them. There's no kind of like enemies to lovers type thing, unless you consider the fact that like they're kind of naturally kind of drawn enemies, and the fact that she's a slayer and he's a vampire and everything. But even then, it's like, you know, like his very first moment was actually him kind of helping her. I'm pretty sure, like him giving her the crucifix and the box and everything to use against the vampires. So yeah, their kind of history is kind of pretty much steeped in nothing but kind of helping hands and assists and shadowy visits and kind of, you know, momentary kind of visits in the night and stuff and everything. So there's no like real reason for her to oppose him or hate him or to kind of, you know, be kind of, you know, deterred by him or anything. So yeah, I mean, I kind of did like I couldn't properly kind of help but wonder, like, because then as soon as he mentioned his age, but then as soon as like I towards the end, I actually remembered exactly how the dynamic between Tom and Buffy was, like him being a college senior and then her being a high school junior and everything. Still not fully kind of fluent or up to date on exactly how kind of the American kind of year grading system works. Like, yeah, like juniors and sophomores and all sorts of other stuff, and then even in college you have that kind of stuff. So the only version of like the age kind of difference kind of like problem we would get in the show is between Buffy and Angel, with like there being like hundreds of years apart between them for fantasy reasons. But then, you know, like a college student with a high school student is like an equally kind of like a problematic, arguably equally kind of problematic kind of age difference to have to deal with. And it's also like something that definitely kind of has happened in real life to very, very to very, very kind of hazardous extents and very, very kind of problematic and illegal extents and everything. So that has happened in real life and everything. So then even this one, they didn't really kind of shy away from actually showing how bad it was even in this story too. I think they didn't really kind of shy away from it, but then I think it's like I think that they did pretty much kind of leave it up to you as the audience member to really kind of know and acknowledge exactly what was wrong with it, or like how it was wrong, or to actually kind of feel uncomfortable about it too. Because then, yeah, like it kept on lingering in the back of my mind. But then it's like, you know, I mean, surely like they're not really going to go beyond friends, like beyond friends with this, are they? But then, and to be fair, they never really did. Like they never kissed. They never really like expressed any kind of romantic or sexual kind of attractions or feelings toward one another. Like they kind of talked, and then they had drinks, and then they danced at the party and everything. But then it never really kind of went beyond that. So you could probably argue that they never really kind of did do anything like that breached the age of consent or anything like that. But then, of course, as per Buffy fashion, he does turn out to be like an actual like a demon snake worshipping monk and everything. So not really who you want for a partner either way. So there is that. But yeah, I think that the Buffy and Angel thing is also like, yeah, I think that like the like relationships with Buffy in the past have never really kind of worked out properly well either. But then I feel like, you know, with Buffy and Angel, I sense the slow burn. I can feel the slow burn burning me away every time I watch like a new episode of this show. And it's just like, you know, I think they're definitely pulling like a slow burn kind of will they won't they thing. At least that's what I can sense and everything. So does make it all the more intriguing to see exactly where they go with it, and to see kind of like how much more they pull with it, and like how much stronger they kind of pull at both ends of the thread too, to see how far. I'd like to see how close they can get to each other and everything. So it just feels like, you know, like they have the most obvious kind of pairing there for obvious reasons, but then they also aren't really kind of afraid to show, they aren't really kind of afraid to throw other dynamics or other pairings or other kind of, you know, other kind of stitch ups into the mix too, just to keep things kind of interesting and to keep things fresh, and to actually kind of like to actually throw both or one or both of the characters kind of off balance and everything. So yeah, and yeah, we had Delta Zeta Kappa. Yeah, so that's obviously like the, you know, you have the frat houses, and I'm pretty sure like fraternities are for guys, and then I'm pretty sure and then sororities are for girls. Don't know if there's, you know, if NB people are particularly into this whole kind of concept or this whole like a congregation, or if if either side is inclusive enough to include them, or what's happening. From what I've heard, like sororities are not nearly as bad. I think like fraternities, you know, kind of like do have their kind of history of like really kind of toxic and shady and just downright horrendous stuff kind of happening. But sororities, I've heard, like they can still kind of have really kind of horrible stuff go down like between themselves, but then fraternities are the ones who actively kind of like I think I've heard like there are active kind of like cases of like abuse and like inside and outside of the groups and everything. So I don't even know, like I'll be honest, I'm not even sure why this is a thing, like why fraternities or sororities are actually a thing. Like I don't know like how they started, why they started, like what the point of them really is. Like it just seems like a really kind of like a, from the outside I think it seems like a really kind of glorified kind of culture of pledges and like just loyalty. And I mean they will say it kind of runs off of loyalty and everything, but then even that can take like a dark turn in some cases. So I don't really know what the actual kind of history behind this is. I think I feel like in most cases too it definitely kind of is like kind of like linked to a particularly wealthy past, and like a particularly kind of like a hierarchy based kind of past too, like actually building a group and having a leader and then followers and making them kind of do stuff and having them kind of pledge allegiance to some kind of like an oath or like a set of ideals that even those seem really kind of rich and, you know, really kind of majority based and everything. So does that make sense? Or like a you know, yeah, just majority based and stuff. So and yeah, I think even in real life, I haven't really kind of heard the best stories, but not to say that like they all suck or they're all bad. But I think like you will hear more about like the actual all the worst cases and everything. But then yeah, I don't know. But with this one, I think again, this one you just have like a frat house that has like an obviously kind of dark past with the whole, you know, like demon snake worshipping thing and everything. So that was her. So like Makira, that was the that was the one they served, Makira. So like what Makira wanted, why Makira was being summoned by these lads, and what the fuck they were giving him, and why. I think they did say all the power and wealth they had, like everything they'd achieved, they had achieved by actually sacrificing and offering to Makira. So there was that. But then the newspaper thing that the Willow was reading at the end, it did actually kind of talk about how, as you might expect, the fraternity actually did have like high connections in different companies and organizations and other kind of associations. And I think upon the frat house's kind of history and everything, and then their crimes actually being exposed, like stocks kind of went down, IRS stuff went down, there were like boardroom suicides and all sorts of other kind of collapses of like within the organization and everyone it was linked to. So then, I mean, for one thing, I think that is also like another thing that I've heard too, that like a lot of frat houses especially will have like the kind of guys who run them will be powered or be funded by like their far wealthier kind of parents and like their fathers, mostly and everything. So it definitely does come from like an actual wealthy background and like a very, very well funded kind of background too. So but yeah, the newspaper said there was like 50 years of carnage too. So I think it was actually I think they said one offering a year. I think when he was actually when Tom was actually summoning Makira, he did say like he did mention like one offering a year, but then the actual bounty overflowed too. So I think the previous year I think that they did mention like 2 or 3 having gone missing and everything, so I think that might have been the bounty overflowing. So then this year they did the same thing. This year they did Callie, and then they did Cordelia. They tried to do Callie and Cordelia and Buffy too. So I think this year they either kind of overflowed again, or they just kind of actually they realized they went up, and then they decided to kind of stick with it or something. So don't know what the story is there, but I think maybe either their connection to all these companies and all the other kind of like connections in higher places either wasn't enough, or maybe those connections were only forged because of their offerings to this god. So then they offered young women to Makira, and then in return Makira gave them wealth and riches and material possession and just kind of actual presentable kind of quality that they probably couldn't have achieved elsewhere or in any other case, or probably just wouldn't have achieved as quickly in any other way. So it makes for a very interesting kind of fantasy style spin on how a frat group runs and how it operates, and exactly how far it's willing to go to maintain its kind of status and everything. So that was nice and creepy. So there was that. But then I think them talking about it was like 50 years worth of carnage too, 50 years worth of stuff they're doing, and like the basement was, they found girls' bones in the basement and all the shit they were doing, all the stuff it amounted to, and now of course the fruit of the consequences being that ripe too, board member, deaths in the boardroom, and then the stocks crashing and the IRS kind of stuff crashing too. So probably didn't even file their fucking taxes either. So they reaped and then they sowed. So I mean, to be fair, they reaped for 50 years and then actually kind of well, is that how I think, was it reaping and then sowing, or is it, I think you sow the seeds and then you sow the seeds and then you reap the chaos. So yeah, they sowed the seeds of of kind of mutual kind of chaos and success for 50 years, and they got the success, and now in one fell swoop they sowed the seeds for 50 years of actual success, and then in one fell swoop they received 50 years worth of chaos for all of that too. So, and even they had what was it, consecutive life sentences. I think they got life sentences. All the boys involved actually got life sentences, so that was a good enough deal too. So yeah, they got exactly what was coming to them. But then hopefully, I think you can only kind of really hope that actually kind of does justice to all the girls who've actually kind of died so needlessly and so horribly to all the shit that they wanted to actually kind of get in return for it. So yeah, that is Delta Zeta Kappa. So yeah. And yeah, I think there seemed to be that kind of obvious kind of different, somewhat obvious kind of differentiation in the beginning, at least, between Richard and Tom too. I think Richard seemed a lot more kind of he seemed a lot more creepy, and I think he definitely kind of gave off more the vibes that oh, if you go with him then something bad will happen to you, but then it's just not guaranteed. You wouldn't immediately think it would be being sacrificed by him to a lizard, to a demon snake or anything, but then you'd still know from him his behavior and his demeanor in general kind of definitely kind of screamed oh, if you're alone with if you're alone in a room with him, then it won't. And I'm pretty sure he even tried to fucking rape Buffy too, him, I think as soon as Buffy actually got her drink spiked and she went I thought she must be going blind or maybe dizzy, and then it turned out to her and Cordelia's drinks had been spiked and everything, and then they both ended up in the same room too, so that was the whole thing. But then as soon as she just face planted on the bed, just passed out and everything, I just had bad feelings going on from there. And then of course Richard of all fucking people walks in, and it's okay, this is not a good omen, this is not a good sign in any way. And then even him kind of being willing to go that far as well, just yeah, and then you see, and then Tom comes in, and you think Tom might be the one coming in to actually stop this and to say no, not her, no, not her, never her, or just actually kind of opting to let her and Cordelia go or something. But no, he's actually fully devoted to Makira, and he wants to save Buffy and Cordelia for Makira. So that's the only reason he's trying to stop his fucking friend from raping either of them. So yeah, so that was I think looking back, I think again a lot of these because of how kind of again ones that like episodes before it too, how similar it is to real life cases of abduction and murder and all that kind of stuff. I think again not the most kind of comfortable story to dig into, but it does kind of put its own kind of Buffy fantasy spin on it. But And also maybe I mean not that you can't get similar stories today. I think even stories even stories today do definitely still kind of tackle kind of criminal topics and controversial topics and all that kind of stuff and everything, and they do definitely kind of deal with how kind of characters respond to that and how characters deal with that and everything. But I think with this one too, I think with this story too, I'm not really kind of sure you can really kind of say it's like a product of its time, because then again I think it probably would not be difficult trying to think to actually kind of pull off like a similar episode like in today's day and age either. Like, you know, like you would definitely kind of still be able to pull off like the same kind of human darkness with the same kind of added twist of actual kind of fantasy stuff with the demons and everything going on. So yeah, they definitely kind of did like showcase Buffy as being that much more kind of like, maybe not impulsive, but maybe just that much more willing because of how much she wanted like a normal life, or at least like a break, how much she wanted a break and how much she wanted to actually be able to spend like at least like 1 or 2 days actually being a normal girl and actually living a normal life and going on a date or actually hanging out with her friends or something. They definitely kind of did show her as actually more willing to give Tom the benefit of the doubt and to actually kind of listen to him and to kind of, you know, give in to him kind of personality wise and everything, and actually kind of actually see him as like a nice kind of normal guy who genuinely just wanted to talk or chat or something. So, you know, definitely, again, just one of the kind of things about this episode, the episode that really supported kind of Buffy's kind of continuing journey about her wanting to kind of try and actually find some balance too. Because then I think the only reason she feels like constantly saying no to all these duties is because of the fact that it kind of overarches into her life so persistently and so constantly and everything. So then they're like, because of that she feels like she never has a break either. So then it's either fighting like an actual big bad or even going out on patrol and actually handling whatever kind of low level kind of, you know, vampiric thugs she might run into and everything. So with this one and with this whole kind of episode with Tom too, I felt like she definitely kind of gave in just to kind of like have that kind of a break and everything. But then, as expected, life pretty much got in the way, and like her other life kind of actually kind of drew her back in and revealed the truth and everything. So I do wonder going forward if that might mean maybe she's actually like a lot more vigilant around like futures now, because then with I think it was with Owen in season 1. I think with Owen she came close, but then he turned out to be like an adrenaline junkie for like the whole supernatural stuff. So then that never worked out. And then I think after that, I can't remember like who else has been besides Angel. But then now it's also Thingy, and now it's been Tom too. So I think maybe maybe in this season maybe she might kind of reach the point where it's like, you know, she's now kind of either not gonna allow herself to actually kind of feel anything for anyone else who's kind of outside of her line of work, or she's gonna kind of like double or triple vet them to make sure that they don't come from like a background of like the demonology or sorcery or whatever, you know. So does make me curious as to how she's actually going to approach any kind of actual kind of social or even romantic kind of connections in the coming times. But then again, that's what we have Angel for too. Angel is the one person that she knows that she can actually kind of trust and be kind of open with and everything, and then he will do his best to kind of reciprocate and everything. So yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing how that progresses. When they dragged Xander away shouting pledge and everything, I thought they might let him. It would not be the first time the show has tried to kind of, you know, push Xander into the dark end or the deep end or the villain end or whatever. So even the way they approached him too, they were like, oh, who's this dork? Who's this guy who doesn't even remotely look like he belongs here or anything? Like, even the way he's dressed, the way he's acting, like he just doesn't really fit in with them. So then they know right off the bat that he's actually not meant to be here and things. So then they actually decide to have some more typical, more human kind of frat boy fun with him, and then dress him up in like a bra and like a wig and put makeup on him and just make him prance around and everything, and then even start spanking him. So I feel like maybe that could be something real and actually pulled from actual kind of frat boy culture of like I don't know, like mocking femininity or something. I don't know, but that one, you know, got me wild when they were getting pledged. But then by the time the reveal came, I thought, okay, so this is them actually treating him, actually being human around another guy for once, instead of actually kind of actually drawing him into their cult and making him one of their own. This is their genuine reaction to someone that they see as lesser than them, and like maybe even like an actual kind of minor kind of punishment towards like an actual kind of gate crash or like a party crash or something. So. And then there was the stuff with Cordelia too, like her kind of her reading up on how to kind of impress men and how to kind of keep their attention and how to appeal to them and everything, like with the whole kind of like really making sure you listen, and then the whole practice kind of laughing and everything. So, and again, I feel like we've heard Cordelia laugh like naturally and purely in this before, and I'm pretty sure it sounds fine. I'm pretty sure it actually sounds really kind of nice to listen to and everything. So yeah, so forced laughter and staged and rehearsed laughter and just never really kind of sounds too good, unless you're just really good at faking your laughter or something. So there's that. But then I think with her, I think Cordelia, I think this episode at least kind of actually took her. I don't know if it really kind of brought her back to her roots, but then it definitely kind of did show again. Like Cordelia is kind of is actually willing to go really far to kind of project this image of herself onto other people, as we've seen before and everything, and even as she herself has explained in the past. But then it's also not too uncommon of a story, I don't think, to hear of high school girls being kind of like vulnerable towards college guys because they're older and more mature, and they have like their own culture that's more mature and grown up and everything. And then of course college boys actually taking advantage of that, actually bringing them in, actually kind of getting them drunk and doing all that kind of stuff. So with Cordelia too, like her kind of having high hopes for her future, or her kind of seeing herself the way she is, I think that kind of vulnerability in her could definitely kind of be exploited, and then they definitely kind of did try and exploit it. But then with them, they of course had the far darker ulterior motives of actually wanting to use her to kind of gain more kind of power and wealth and everything by sacrificing her and her friends to a demon snake. So yeah, but Cordelia, I think, so far they've actually done like a decent job of incorporating her into this into all the kind of supernatural stuff ever since she found out about it and didn't really kind of turn away or run away or anything like that. So they've done like a pretty decent job actually incorporating her into this and everything. So she is still kind of like ending up more as like an actual victim more than anything else. But then I think I'm trusting that's all building up to a point where she can actually identify the threat like as supernatural, and then eventually at least try and fight back, even if she doesn't manage to defeat it. Like her defeating it would be cool, but then hopefully actually building up to a point where she can actually identify it or actually filter it out or something, and then actually kind of help to defeat it or help to fight it or something. So probably all in good time, but still it definitely kind of does give off like the signs of like an actual Cordelia, that they're actually kind of veering towards where we can actually recognize her being a bit of her, but then like a bit more of actually someone new and someone more promising and someone more kind of self-aware of the dangers that she kind of walks into and everything. So yeah, I suppose we'll kind of find out soon enough. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, again, just like a hyper-focused episode on the whole kind of fraternity stuff and the demon and everything. The demon snake kind of looked the demon snake actually looked pretty cool. I felt like the demon snake arguably looked like a lot better than the praying she-mantis from Teacher's Pet and everything. So again, I feel like season 2 they've probably got like a bigger budget and everything, and they even actually kind of gave it like an actual tail that extended back into the pit that it crawled out of and everything. So it was like pretty much kind of hovering and like levitating and everything the entire time, and even the cold lizard skin aesthetic kind of it looked pretty decent. It actually looked pretty decent for what it was and everything. So again, clearly like a higher budget to actually make things kind of look good and everything. I think clearly all practical, at least mostly, if not all kind of practical too. So it looked pretty fine. I think for the kind of brief amount of time it was actually on screen, it looked believable and it looked pretty kind of authentic and everything. So as authentic as you could probably make like an actual demon snake look and everything. So yeah, that was that. So that was cool. But yeah, I think for now that is pretty much all I've got from this one. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought and how what your feelings are towards this episode and the story and how it made you feel and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, thank you. That was Buffy, the Vampire Slayer, season 2, episode 5. So thank you guys as always for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then feel free to leave a like and comment on what you thought of the episode and what you think is coming up next time on Buffy. For those interested, full-length reaction over on Patreon, so you can go check that over there. And yeah, that is pretty much it. So until next time, bye bye for now.